What's up, boys and girls? Welcome back to a new episode of Is It Imba or Do I Suck? And today we will be looking at Mr. Heromarauder over here, who sent me an email. Let's actually see what his email says. Hi Kev, I'm Heromarauder, 4K MMR Diamond 1 Terran. Not sure if you do non-Protoss replays. Yes, I do. But I really am lost here. In this game, I was super aggressive and did genocide on his mineral lines. Yet somehow he survived with 30 less drones that I had SCVs. Made some lurkers and won the game. ... Cheers. Well, thank you very much, Heromarauder. So the issue seems to be lurkers in ZVT here. So let's have a look at it, shall we not? It all looks solid and standard so far, I have to admit. I'm not disappointed by any of this. Just standard 1 Rex expand into well, whatever it's gonna be. Most likely a factory. We see a second gas coming down. But as he said, he did a genocide on his opponent's mineral line. So most of the time, this kind of game, it just comes down to some kind of army movement, that kind of stuff. We'll exactly see what happens. Reaper into Marine. Let's see how Mr. Heromarauder controls his first Reaper. Always curious to see, of course. Whoop. Whoosh. That doesn't look half bad. Some actual good control on the Reaper. His opponent is not doing too much either. Just trying to get some creep going, I guess, after he deals with his Reaper. CC is getting close to being finished. Factory is on the way. All so far, I'm a very happy man. This looks very solid from Heromarauder, honestly. As long as he doesn't lose his first Reaper while trying to kill an extra worker or something like that, I think it's gonna be completely fine. Switches his barracks and his factory, which is at least slightly interesting, I would say. Goes into Hellion, Tech Lab, so could either be Banshee, could also still be some kind of fusion core play, but it's always very, very difficult to say ahead of time, of course. He did get a very fast second gas. His opponent is getting Overlord speed as well as Zergling speed, so he should be pretty okay. Yeah, okay. Third gas, this looks like Battlecruiser. But his opponent most likely will scout it the moment his Overlord speed finishes. So Starport finishes up here, and... Hello? Banshee, I guess. Well, I did not expect that. No, Fusion Core, right. Okay, so Fusion Core, and then we'll go into Battlecruiser. So this is a very standard opener these days, where you just go into Battlecruiser, and from there you can either play Bio from one single Battlecruiser, or you can go into multiple Battlecruisers and then mech. Now, so far, honestly, I haven't really seen very many mistakes. He's very passive with his Hellions, but that's okay. You don't want to die to any kind of Zergling run-bys. You know, leaving a couple of Hellions at home never is necessarily a bad decision. It's just a decision you can take. Now, here come the first 4 Hellions. Will be... Well, he's actually running straight in. Doesn't really know if there's links, of course, but just kind of gambles, and that's also a gamble you can take. Goes in. I guess this is the... where he goes in and kills all of the workers in the mineral line. Already gets 10 workers. 3 Hellions still alive, and we'll just get a bunch more, I guess. Whoa. 16 workers go down. Okay, against 4 Hellions. Now that's a very good trade, as you can see. Right now our Terran is doubling the worker count. Which is obviously quite good. On top of that, he has a Viking to deny some scouting, or at least to hunt down some Overlords. He still has some Hellions for map control. And at this point, I would like if he just starts saving up his Hellions and doesn't throw them away too much. Like, it's nice to get more drone kills, but at this point, you kill so many workers. All you really need to do is continuously build SCVs and make sure you have good macro, basically. Get your production structures up, make sure you can't get all in, so... I mean, getting a couple more worker kills is always nice, but getting 4... I think he got 4 extra drones, 5 extra drones, and loses 3 Hellions for it. I'm not quite sure if that's worth it. Ideally, you'd just be getting a bigger Hellion force, deny some creep. You know, maybe try to kill a couple more links. Gets a 3rd CC as well on top of that, which is good. And we'll be going into mech, so we're going to see continued battlecruiser production most likely. Now, from the Zerg on the other hand, what do we see here? Well, not much, just drones, honestly. Drones, a couple of queens, spores in the bases. Is the Zerg actually aware? Yes, he did scout the fusion core, so Zerg does know it's a battlecruiser. Battlecruiser teleports to the other side of the map, and Beals start chasing these drones. Gets 2, 3, 4, just shift picking drones. Interesting trade. So I think he got 4 worker kills here and lost a battlecruiser. Now, for people that aren't aware, a battlecruiser is 400 minerals and 300 gas. So ideally, you do more damage than 4 drones. It also has a lot of HP and a lot of armor, so it's actually really difficult to lose it to pure queens. I'm gonna go ahead and call that as a mistake. What you want to do is, the moment too many queens arrive, is you just fly away and you can fly it back and repair it, and then go again with 2 battlecruisers, and then if they're in danger you can teleport them back, and then you go with 3 battlecruisers, you repair them. If they're in danger you teleport them back. You kind of keep building up your battlecruiser count like that. That's the whole point of battlecruiser mech. It's not a it is a harassment unit, but it is a harassment unit that also shouldn't die. So he did a lot of damage to drones early on, but now he just throws away another 6 Hellions together with the battlecruiser, and he gets like, sure, he gets a couple of workers every time, but it's actually better to just, like, trading 1 Hellion for 1 drone is not actually a good trade. And this was an even worse trade. I think he got 3 drones here, lost 5 Hellions. So units lost is actually relatively even. So of course Terran is still ahead because he killed drones very early on in the game. But you don't really... He's just so focused on harassing that he kind of forgets to build an army. This battlecruiser does a lot better. He just jumps in, kills a single drone, and then it's like, I can't actually fight these queens, and he flies away, or at least he should fly away. I kind of like this move as well, you know, the battlecruiser takes away the attention of the Zerg, then you go in with Hellions, and you kill a bunch of workers again. So he did get a lot of workers here, and I actually do appreciate this move a lot. Kills a lot of links, moving into Hellbats as well. Ideally the Cyclone wouldn't be here, because it's very expensive, and it's not really great at harassing mineral lines, you know, it's better at poking back and forth at an army. Battlecruiser goes back in. This is actually good play. So this is exactly what you're supposed to do. Now ideally a second battlecruiser would be here, and he would be focusing the drones. Please tell me he's not going to lose this one as well. The great thing about the battlecruiser is that it's so good at getting away. Like, it has a lot of base armor, it has a lot of HP, and it can teleport, which are all very good abilities to have when you don't want to lose a unit. Now, I almost lost this one as well, but... oh my god, you can repair them, like, just go home, man. You don't need to do this. Couple of more Hellions, and let's take a look at what his main army starts consisting of. So he's going for a Hellion Cyclone, which I also like. I think that's a good play. And he could start moving out with this army and actually start trading either against queens or against roaches, while doing harassment with small Hellion forces. Like, I gotta admit, he killed a lot of workers, and even though not all of them have been successful, the last few have been again. You see resource loss is still relatively even, but worker count is very far ahead here for the Terran. Terran has better economy, Terran has better infrastructure. I mean, he's on 5 factories against a 3 base Zerg that's still on 4 gases. Like, by all means, this game is basically completely over, I would say. If he moves across the map at this point, and he locks onto 8 roaches with these 8 cyclones, then he runs away. He might lose 1 cyclone and trade against 8 roaches. Then you do that one more time and the game just ends. I think he's being a little bit too passive here with his main army. After he did a lot of damage, he could actually just push his lead, try to deny some extra creep. His opponent should never be able to get a fort base. And he could definitely, continue getting more factories is what I was going to say. He's doing a fantastic job, honestly. He's doing very well. Of course, ideally, you also still have 2 battlecruisers alive. I'm not sure what happened with the other battlecruiser, but it died somewhere. So, ideally, you keep this one alive as well. Viking here, save the day. I actually think Heromarauder has been playing not a fantastic game, but a pretty decent game so far. You know, some mistakes, throwing away too many units, but I kind of like the way he's been playing it. And his opponent is in an awful position. I mean, there's 51 workers. It's Hydra Bane against pure Hellion Cyclone. Like, this should never work, especially with the complete lack of creep. Like, if there's some kind of micro here from Heromarauder, yeah, this. Just go back and forth, and you should never even lose a single unit, I believe, if you play like this. And you can just keep going back and forth, and in the end, I guess you just win. So I'm very curious to see how Heromarauder will be able to lose this game. Because a lot of the time in the Is It Imba or Do I Suck, it's not so much the other player winning as it's our, our protagonist losing the game in a very special way. It does look like Heromarauder is completely aware that he can repair his units, or actually I'm not sure what this guy's doing. Hello, Mr. SCV. This guy's having a blast. Oh, he's just going here for a spray, maybe? Just relaxing. Oh, there's another one. Oh, I guess a misrally of one of the... Okay, all of the CCs are rallied over here. That's real nice. Oh, some extra gases going down, and once again, this army, the Hellion Cyclone army, is an army that should always be trading and on the map. Like, this is an army that's so mobile, it's so quick, and it's very difficult to catch. So, basically, always when you're trading with this army, especially against a roach army, you're gonna be in a good spot. You want to be denying creep and trading, basically, with this. And you can be transitioning into something else after, but a lot of the time it's completely fine to just kind of kill your opponent with that Hellion Cyclone while you still have 3-4 battlecruisers alive. Now, moving up this ramp, we see some clear indications of things that could go wrong. Like, there's a very bad retreat path, so a flank could be very painful. Now, luckily here our Barcode Zerg player decides not to do it, but because the retreat path is so small, the Banelings do get a lot of splash damage on. You don't want to split with Cyclone Hellion either, which is what Heromarauder did here. Instead, you just want to run away while your Cyclones shoot. The reason why you usually split with your army is so that you can continue having DPS. Like, you can continue doing damage, basically, while being split up, so Banelings don't maximize their damage. But with Cyclones, they keep shooting while they're running back, so it's just better to run away. You don't really care about the Hellion shooting, unless there's a lot of links. So, yeah, this was a really poor trade, and you actually see Heromarauder falling behind right now in the units lost tab as well. He still has a way better economy, of course. He has way better upgrades as well. He should continue getting more upgrades the moment he gets some extra money, but in general he's still in a completely fine position. A little bit of a weird trade here with the Hellion Cyclone. On top of the creep, tries to get one queen, loses two Cyclones and 2-3 Hellions as well. And he's basically losing against purely a Baneling Roach Ravager army, which shouldn't really be possible with the army that he has. And he keeps moving out with way too small armies as well. Well, his initial army was fine, but then after he lost it, he should have just stayed home, I feel like. You have about 20 Hellions going to the other side of the map, while his third base is being ransacked. This might actually not be the worst trade, as he does get tanks and eventually he most likely will be able to stabilize. And he might actually be able to get a lot of workers here, and a couple of queens will go down, but yeah, basically all the units die again to like 7-8 Banelings. And every single time this happens, you see the trades just keep getting worse and worse. So even though he killed 59 workers and his income is way better, he's still in a very good position, of course. It is starting to get a little scarier. I also don't like that this isn't a planetary, and this should also be a planetary already. On top of that, it's also completely out of position. So, yeah, he's just throwing away so many units right now. It's 83 workers, so it's very good worker production, but you just keep throwing away army after army. It's fine to harass, but if you lose 12 Hellions to kill 6 Banelings and 4 drones, that's not very successful harassment. And usually sending 4 Hellions does about as much as 8 Hellions. Like, if they don't have enough to do with 4 Hellions, or they most likely don't have enough to do with 8 Hellions either. And both of them, they basically one-shot drones, so it's not that big of a deal, you know, if you only have 4. So I'd always suggest doing smaller run-bys and in different places. It's better to have 2 run-bys of 4 Hellions and 1 run-by of 8 Hellion. And instead, we have Heromarauder moving out with a pretty tiny army once again. Not maxed yet, not sieged up. Will be moving into, well, basically Lurker, Roach Ravager, with 2 tanks sieged up. Finally gets the scan in, but that's at the end of the fight and only 1 tank is remaining. it feels like if he just sits back for like 4 minutes, or not even like, why do you say 4? Like a minute and a half, he's gonna be completely fine. But instead he keeps moving out with an army of like 70, 80 supply, while his opponent has a bigger army supply but no workers whatsoever. He just keeps feeding his army into his opponent. On top of that, no planetaries and not a real good usage of the energy on the command centers either. We see almost 600 energy being saved up right now, and that's, well, 12 mules. That's a lot of income. Could also be a lot of scans for the lurkers. I just absolutely love to see a bunch of tanks, some cyclones, some hellions, and just sit back while you harass with hellions. Like, this kind of move out is really good. Even though this might not work now, like, you can just run away. You see a big army, you run away, and you're like, okay, that's fine. Let me just set up the rest of my defenses. And then you max out and you do a run by, and as you're doing a run by, you push across the map, as it makes it easier. You want to always distract your opponent while you're pushing out, so he can't get in a good position to fight you. Now instead what we have is we have Heromarauder with no map knowledge whatsoever. His complete army is out of position, and the Barcode Zerg is just moving up a ramp right now, which honestly shouldn't be this dangerous. I think Heromarauder has probably a decent enough army to deal with this, but he's completely caught out of position once again. And another thing is he needs to split his army too thinly because he has no planetaries anywhere. Like, these 4 tanks could just be 1 tank if there was a planetary here. Instead we have, well, 4 tanks there, a couple of tanks here, and I mean the Barcode Zerg is trying his absolute best to throw away a bunch of his army into tanks as well, but yeah, ideally these tanks would be at home as well. A sensor tower or 2 could also completely help here. I mean, these tanks, you know, you can also move them. Some Terrans believe that once you seize a tank, you should never move it again, but I'm of the strong belief that it's nice to unsiege them if your natural base is getting completely destroyed by 4 Ravagers. Oh, there we go. That's it's nice reaction speed there. I think I've seen slots climb a tree faster than this. Oh, Lurker being under the ground, and I mean, there should be plenty of scans as well, and yeah, this is what I mean. No planetary here. Yeah, so you get killed by Lynx and Hydras, tank not being sieged up, no sensor tower, no vision. 1 lurker destroying 7 different tanks at the same time. This lurker has 4 kills, and trust me, those are not SCVs or marines, those are tanks and cyclones. It's just really sad because Heromarauder was ahead so far all game long. And then he just keeps throwing smaller and smaller armies at his opponent, while being up like 40 in worker supply as well. So you actually just want to max out, or just do a lot of harass and tech to a better army. There's basically 2 things you can do: just tech to a better army, and then win through better tech, or you just keep harassing and you just kind of sit tight while you expend more and more, and you just kind of starve your opponent. Instead, Heromarauder kept attacking, until he kind of killed himself into his opponent. GG, well played. And he loses the game. Aye. Now, of course, the real question here is, boys. The real question here is it Imba or does it suck? Let's read the email one more time. Somehow he survived with 30 less drones than I had SCVs. He made some lurkers and won the game. Alright. Your initial harass was good. I'll give you that. Your build order was good. Your initial harass was good. But losing the battle cruiser while playing battle cruiser mech? Yeah, not the brightest. Losing the second battle cruiser while playing battle cruiser mech? Now you're really starting to lose the plot. Not continuing battle cruiser production in general is kind of bad. You always want to keep 3-4 battle cruisers around to force your opponent to build some corruptors. What else was there? Yeah, never building planetaries, of course, is bad. Makes it very difficult. A complete lack of any kind of map vision. No sensor towers, no hellions spread across the map. Your army was constantly out of position. You kept attacking into your opponent with a worse army. Most of the time unsieged, without scans, even though you had 12, 13 scans available at all times. And honestly, the worst fight you had was at his ramp, at his third base. That wasn't even against lurkers, that was against pure Baneling Ravager, where you decided to split instead of moving back, and then you lost 15 cyclones. So perhaps the lurker is a little bit too strong, but definitely not in this game. No, my friend. In this game, the real reason why you lost is Because you suck. That's the reason. And nothing else. Don't forget that. Alright guys, if you liked that video, please feel free to comment down below, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Only with your help can that number rise. And you all know how important that is. So hit that subscribe button and see you in the next video. Bye bye.